Welcome to the Confident Motherhood Podcast. I'm your host, Anne, mama of two, holistic pregnancy and pediatric sleep consultant, and the founder of Empowered Decisions. In our seasons together, I'm here to help you step into your inner confidence from pregnancy to motherhood. Whether you are preparing to meet your baby or integrating into new mom life, this is a safe space with education and support for your journey. Join me as we raise the vibe of our motherhood collective. Welcome back to the Confident Motherhood Podcast. Hi, I'm Anne, your holistic pregnancy and infant and toddler sleep consultant, and today we're talking about sleep products. I love a good product, and as a mom, as a sleep coach, I've been asked about what feels like a million products over the years, and it never ceases to amaze me that when I'm doing consultations nowadays, right, 8 years later, and I'll hear about products, and I think it's such a cool thing that I'm like, it's just never ending. So I want to put a disclaimer on this episode that just because I'm not talking about something does not mean that it's not amazing, it's not great, I don't approve of it. There's just an endless amount of products. So the products I want to share with you are very much, they've been tried and true over the years, whether it's been throughout my own motherhood experience, going through newborn, babyhood, toddlerhood, or just the fact that I hear these names constantly when I'm doing room assessments and really just seeing what popular products are out there. But I also want to share with you why I love them and why I recommend them. There's also a couple of products in this list that I also have affiliate codes for. So I'm going to give you my code information if you want to check them out and get a discount. So this is actually my second attempt at recording this episode because the first time it was just getting way too lengthy because again, this topic of products can be really endless in a way. So I was like, you know what? I can do better. Let's start this over in a little bit more of a concise and a clean way. I'm going to start with a few newborn products that are faves, and then I'm going to go into home and on the go. So like sleep environment at home and some travel products that I love. And then we're going to talk about some sleep sacks because ironically enough, I just did a call with a family yesterday. And even though sleep sacks is such a normal part of my conversations for the past 8 years, I actually had somebody the other day was like, what is a sleep sack? Why do I need it? What are they used for? So I was like, you know, we're going to include that in this episode when we're talking about products. I'm going to share some of my faves and then also talk about why sleep sacks are generally recommended. So let's kick off with newborn products. Now, sometimes sharing newborn products and recommendations, I'm always a little bit hesitant with because every newborn is so different. And what one newborn loves from a product perspective, the other one hates. And I just really want you to find what works for you, but just kind of share why I do love these and then open that conversation up to make sure that you're always exploring and finding products that may work for your child that maybe just I didn't talk about here. So the first one in the product recommendation is going to be the babysshusher. Now, the babysshusher I feel is best suited for the newborn phase. And this is because one, it runs for either 15 or 30 minutes. And what it does is it mimics the rhythmic sounds of the womb, which can really help to break babies out of crying patterns when we're trying to help them settle or fall asleep. So the sounds essentially is like a shh, that sort of repetition, which is really soothing. It also doesn't get as loud as a normal sound machine would. So you can use it for on the go and portable, and you can have it closer to your baby than we would be able to do with the sound machine. But I think it's a really solid product and very helpful with newborns. My code on that one is ANNE15, so ANNE 15 for 15% off. Also more of an inexpensive product, and it's small. It's pretty much like the size of your hand, which I think is really nice. It's a simple product. We are already overwhelmed by all things in newborn land. We don't need complicated products, so definitely check that one out. The next is going to be kind of in your baby carrier category. Newborns need co-regulation for sleep. I am not in the camp of newborns have to be taking all of their naps and, sleep, whatnot, in their bassinet or their crib. It is oftentimes just not realistic, and newborns really do benefit from contact napping and baby wearing and having that closeness and connection, and having a good carrier really helps, especially the second time around when I had my toddler and I needed to be chasing him around. Like I needed my second son to be strapped to me. So I didn't do this the first time around, but I highly recommend it. If you're in newborn season now, you're going to be heading into it, to get a couple good wraps. So I recommend having a fabric wrap, which is literally just a long piece of fabric. My favorite is the Solly wrap, SOLLY. And then having a more structured baby carrier, and meaning like there's like buckles and straps and stuff, not something that you're wrapping around you. I think it's good to have options. The fabric wrap, it feels the most hate to use the word natural, but kind of in a way, like it feels the most, how we've been meant to be carrying our babies for a very long time. Obviously, there is a long history with baby wearing, story for another day, but I really like the Soli. It's fabric and it's very soft. And I was a little intimidated, if I'm being honest, the first time around. That's why I didn't do it. But there are videos and tutorials of how to wrap your baby. And once you've done it a few times, you're like, oh, I've got this. I'm totally fine. But if the wrapping your baby in fabric is not your thing, then get more of a structured baby carrier. I love the Ergo, and they have so many different models and different carriers that they have nowadays that they didn't have when I had my first son. They had more options when I had my second, but definitely a little bit more structured. But also there's a lot of different brands out there that are amazing. I love the Ergo because it didn't break my own back. And I felt like there was a lot of, obviously why it's called Ergo Baby. They're very ergonomic in their design. And I felt like I was supported my back, right? There's a lot of adjustments that you have when you're healing postpartum. And I feel like they've done a really great job of that with their baby carriers. The last product that I want to talk about in the newborn phase, which we will also talk about when we get into sleep sacks, is the whole swaddling conversation. Whether you choose to swaddle, you do not choose to swaddle, your baby loves to be swaddled, your baby does not love to be swaddled. One product that I feel like has always been tried and true is the Love to Dream. So LOVE number 2, Dream. Now, the reason that I love the Love to Dream is because babies are in a natural arms up swaddle. So imagine their little hands are kind of like right by their cheeks, and that's where the fabric goes over. And then there's a zipper that's going to go top to bottom. And when babies are arms up in more of a natural position, because some babies love or hate to be arms down, and that can be tricky. But when they're arms up, their little hands get to be by their face, which is oftentimes very soothing for them. And then you don't have any breakouts. My first son was a master escape artist. I bought so many damn swaddles and sacks and stuff in the newborn phase, and I wish that I had the Love to Dream then, but I really loved it the second time around. And it's hip healthy, which is really important as babies are continuing to develop and they're in that postpartum newborn 4th trimester phase with you. So again, there's no right or wrong here with baby products. There's also the Merlin, which is another popular one, which I do think is a really great transitional item in the newborn phase. There's just so many to talk about. So these are kind of like my heavy hitters. Definitely get a baby wrap, whether you take the fabric route or something more structured. The babyshusher is really great. And I also love the Love to Dream. Now, let's talk about sleep environment products. And this is probably my favorite page of this document, which I'm going to try to link for you here in the show notes, because I just feel so strongly. I just love these products so much. Like I can't say enough about them. Genuinely, like as a mom of 8 years now and using these products and doing hundreds and hundreds of room assessments and also seeing what families have in their homes. So first and foremost is going to be the Nanit baby monitor. I love this baby monitor. And I would definitely say it's the number one monitor that I will see in room assessments. One, you have access to it on your phone, which I think is really great, and not having to have the baby monitor, right? The separate monitor that you would need to carry around with you or charge at nighttime. It's just on your phone. If you have more than one child, which this was not the case when I originally had the Nanit, this was a feature that they later added on. If you have more than one child, then you can split the screen. You get to have access to both of your children, which is really nice. And I think that aside from it just being a really great device, it's easy to set up and multiple options, whether you're mounting or not mounting. It's on a shelf or they have the floor mount stand. Is their breathing technology and your ability to zoom in on your baby. And I just cannot tell you how beneficial that is. It's always given me a lot of comfort knowing that I have such good visibility to my kids. I still have a Nanit in my 8-year-old's room, by the way, not because it's peering over his bed, but just if at any point in the night I need to check on him or see what's going on, like I have that visibility. So the Nanit is just solid. I actually wish I had a code for the Nanit. I do not, but it's easy to set up. Again, you have the app access, the sleep data tracking if you choose to add that feature on, which I do think is really beneficial when your little ones are younger, to have the data where you can get like a weekly report and kind of see what's going on. And as a sleep coach, I'm kind of always analyzing sleep data, but some parents love that, some parents don't. But there's just so many like oodles of options within it, which I think just makes it a really incredible product. Next is going to be like, and this one needs a drum roll, which probably the Nanit needed a drum roll too, is the SlumberPod. If this damn thing was around when my first son was born, I would not have had to travel with blackout curtains and blinds and trying to get Airbnbs and hotel rooms like darker than bright ass lights, the SlumberPod is genius. So what the SlumberPod is essentially a little pop-up tent that goes over your travel crib. Now it's made of fabric and it comes with poles that break down. And everything's really compact. So it all fits in a little bag. You can throw it in your suitcase. It does not take up a ton of space and it's breathable. It is super dark. Like you don't have to worry about light coming into that. They also have an option to buy a little fan with it. So if you're ever somewhere it's a little bit warmer, you can make sure your little one has got good circulation in there. I've never actually had to use the fan, but I think it's a great option. And there's a little pouch for your baby monitor, which is great. So even though you have this little pop-up tent over their travel crib, you can still see them. They've done such a great job with this. And I am proud to say that my son, the first time I ever used it, I traveled when he was 4 months old. It was the first trip that I had ever taken with him. And it was the first time using the SlumberPod. And I was so impressed and he slept so great. And I've used it ever since. He's going to be 4 come December time. And he now has transitioned to the SlumberPod over the SlumberTot, which is a little inflatable toddler bed, which is also another really great product for toddlers. And he loves his tent so much. So whether, travel kind of here and there, or you are a family who travels a lot, it is such a solid investment. Now with that, I do have a code for that, which is empowered, EMPOWERED for 10% off. But what I love about being a SlumberPod affiliate is the SlumberPod runs frequent promotional deals and they will tack on the affiliate code on top of whatever they're doing. So if they're running a 20 or 25% discount, you'll get that 10% on top of it, which I think is awesome. Okay, next is going to be in the soundmachine nightlight vein. So also, like the nanit, very popular is the Hatch. And the Hatch is a multifunction device. So you have soundmachine, you have time to rise function, and you have nightlight. Tons of sound options, lots of different color and nightlight options, and it's something that's really going to grow. So whether you get it because you have a newborn and you're buying a very popular product, this is also going to run through babyhood, through toddlerhood. Both of my sons have the Hatch second generation. They did do a recall on the first gen a while back. I have it in both of their rooms and they both use it for nightlight and time to rise function. So with my 8-year-old, which has been really nice, I don't think I ever really thought it was a product that I was going to use for this long, but at night he'll hit the ring one time on the top. There's a little silver ring on the top and I have programs that are set for both of them, by the way, which is really nice. Just like the nanit, you can access it from your phone. You can set programs. It's very user friendly, but he'll tap the ring and it'll play some kind of just mellow music for about 30 minutes. He'll do reading, tap it again, it goes red and it plays his white noise for the rest of the night. And then in the morning it turns off and it turns a blue color and then it's morning time. He at his age also has the clock on it because he can tell time. But this is a really great product when you get generally around age 3 and they can start to kind of understand these sorts of things like, oh, your light is this color. This means it's not morning yet or whatnot. So I think from a time to rise function and just having a product that grows with your child is incredible. But the Hatch is a very popular product and majority of the time I'm doing room assessments. The Hatch is what is in the room from a sound machine perspective. Now, I also think it's nice to have portable options, just like having the SlumberPod. So I love a good portable sound machine. Now, this one is just the one that I've used for a really long time. And there definitely have been families over the years that I have seen in assessments as well. But the Yoga Sleep Hush, and it's Hush, HUSHH, so 2 H's at the end, is small and mighty. It's small. It's great. It's $20 and it's great for home and it's great for on the go. Now, the number one reason that I like this little thing is because if the power is to cut out, it will run for 8 hours. I cannot tell you how many times that this has saved me. Truly. There has been so many times, even now, if the power to go off, the Hatch is going to go off because it's connected to power. The Hush is going to stay running. So if there's ever a time that I go into one of their rooms and I can see that the Hatch is off, but the Hush is running, I'm like, oh, we might have had, sometimes the power just flickers in the middle of the night. The Hush is still running. It is small and mighty. And again, it's inexpensive and it works really great. It also comes with a little ring. So especially when they're younger, attaching it to the packnplay or attaching it to a stroller, it's just nice. It's a great on the go product. Okay, let's wrap up by talking about sleep sacks. Now, just like many sleep products, it's every brand makes a sleep sack. You just can't really go wrong. And let's kind of talk about what a sleep sack is, why you would use them, and talk about some brands. A sleep sack is a safe, wearable blanket. So generally, a lot of the times, although there are long sleeve ones, and there are long sleeve ones that I love, majority of them are sleeveless. So your little one is going to have on clothes underneath this, whether this is a long sleeve, full on footed onesie, or this is shirts, long sleeve or short sleeve that snaps at the diaper, pajamas, whatnot. They're going to be clothed. The sleep sack is going to go over, and it's going to zip up. Sometimes they just zip up top to bottom or bottom to top right in the middle. Sometimes it'll kind of run along the side of their armpit and then go down the side. A lot of them also have an option where you can access them from the bottom. So if they're in their sleep sack at night and you need to do a diaper change, then you have easy access and you don't have to take off their whole thing. So a lot of different really great options, but it's a safe wearable blanket, nothing that they're going to get wrapped up in. And the optimal sleep environment for little ones is generally between 68 and 72. Babies and toddlers sleep best in cooler sleep environments. So having them in like, their jammies or their onesie and then having a sleep sack over. Little ones don't keep blankets on them. And for babies, we're not putting blankets in their crib. Like you have an older toddler that's in their bed, whatnot, then yes, they usually have some sort of blanket. But that's not what we're using for babies. We have a fitted sheet, a clear crib, no pillows and blankets and wedges and things that they can get, kind of tangled up in. And sleep sacks do a really good job of being able to put them in something, but in a safe capacity. Now, sleep sacks are going to have a variety of weights. So like your more thinner and lightweight fabrics and your more thicker and heavier fabrics, but all of that is measured in TOG, which is TOG. It's a thermal measurement. And all the sleep sack brands have charts. So you can kind of take, okay, here's the temperature of my little one's room, and then they'll help you to layer and choose. But generally it's going to range from like a 0.5 at the thinnest to maybe like a 2.5 TOG on the thicker, heavier range, which generally is best suited for like, much colder rooms or in the colder, seasonal months where you're going to want something that's a little bit heavier or thicker. I like more breathable, natural, like you're not going to want to put babies, in any sort of material and fabrication that is unsafe in any capacity. So let's kind of kick off with the first one, which is a fan favorite. And also I think is great for just all year round is the Woolino. And this is going to be like a 4-season sleep sack, meaning you don't generally have to buy multiple sleep sacks. You can buy one and it's going to run you for all 4 seasons, depending on where you live. So I think in general, it's my fave for like the variety of temperature that you can have. Their claim to fame is that body temperature regulation, and the Woolino is really solid. And I see this all the time when I'm doing room assessments. Then you're going to have another popular one, which is Nested Bean. And Nested Bean, their claim to fame is having that little sack, which is on the baby's chest, which also could be on the back as well. There is some that are also reversible with that little bean pouch, which kind of acts as like a little hand on their chest in a way, but really great. They do generally have snaps at the shoulders. So again, there's so much variety in what like the functions of these sleep sacks can have, but you want like easy access. So look at the zippers, look at the snaps. You're going to look at the fabrication that they have and then layer accordingly with their jammies, but Nested Bean, another fave. Then you have just more of your tried and true simple, which is going to be Burt Bees, which has organic cotton. I've only generally seen Burt Bees in the thinner capacity of fabrics, but it's very, just like a standard core sleep sack. Carter's also has them. Halo also has them. Like there's just endless amounts of sleep sacks. Another one of my fave, which is a little bit more, I would say kind of like plush, is Gunamuna. Now Gunamuna, I love the ones that I've had for my son are the long sleeve ones, but his room gets really cold at nighttime and it's not something that I can regulate. And their fabrics are just super cozy. Also, it has that easy access bottom. And I have 2 very tall children and they've always kind of been in that 90, 95 plus percentile. And as they got older, like into toddlerhood, it was more of a struggle to find sleep sacks that they could still wear and still fit them. And I had a lot of luck with Gunamuna as my second was getting a little bit older, that I was still able to size him up. So there's been a lot of like growth and development over the years with sleep sacks. This was more of a struggle when my eldest son was younger, but Gunamuna, definitely a little bit more on the pricier side, but definitely very plush fabrics. And then I would say the last one that I see a lot is Kite Baby. Very cool, soft fabrics, like very drapey, that sort of thing, but great. Like you always want ones too that have the little flap that are going to cover up the zippers. Your little one can't get to it, but very like tried and true, sleeveless, sleeping bag bottom. And all of these are great. So again, if you have one that I did not mention, it is not because it is not great. There's just so many that I possibly could mention, but I love sleep sacks. And I always recommend if you're going to put your little one in a sleep sack, put them in it for nap and nighttime sleep. That's a question that I get a lot. And sleep sacks also do a good job of being like a cue and a signal that sleep is coming. Whether you go in the room and you do, let's say for naps, a little diaper check, a change, they get in their sleep sack, they read a book, and then they're going in their crib. A lot of babies come to know that when it's sleep sack time, that means it's sleep time. Okay, then I guess one honorable mention that I'll just mention, albeit I think the Magic Sleep Suit Merlin needs to be a part of a separate podcast episode with like other popular sleep products that also have some kind of like nuance around that conversation. But I do think that the Merlin is a great transitional item when you're in the newborn phase, going from full swaddle to sleep sack, where little ones still have a lot of moro or that startle reflex. I think oftentimes little ones I see are staying in the Merlin a little bit too long, and we want to make sure that we're getting them into a sleep sack. But I do think that the Merlin is great, and it's great for transition. Okay, I hope that this was helpful. I always feel whenever I'm talking about products that, again, there's just an abundance of them, and I don't want to leave anything out that's really important. But I hope this kind of gives you an idea from starting off with a newborn land into setting up your sleep environment, a couple products that are really great and I strongly believe in for travel and on the go, and then just giving you some options for the whole sleep sack conversation, because it can be a little bit overwhelming when you start Googling sleep sacks and you're like, oh my God, what ones do I get? But these are, again, so many families use them and love them, which is why they're included in this list. So if you have any products that you're curious about or you would want talked about, drop it for me in the comments or reach out on social media. I'm always taking recommendations for podcast episodes. And I hope that this was helpful. And until the next episode, lots of love. Whether you're a tired mom struggling with your little one's sleep or an expecting mom looking for empowerment and advocacy as you prepare for birth, I'm here to show up for you with proven strategies and education to elevate your journey. You deserve to feel heard and given the tools to have success. Mama, you do not have to navigate your pregnancy or sleep struggles alone. Head over to empoweredwithann.com to discover how we can support you. Confidence, empowerment, and peace are just a click away.